Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. I just woke up. I'm seriously like 15 minutes ago. I have a fresh cup of coffee. I am still pre-coffee. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good Friday. Today on the show, we're talking about a bunch of movies, and we have interviews with filmmakers today. We'll be talking about The Whale, Empire of Light, Christmas, Bloody Christmas, plus interviews with the filmmakers behind A Christmas Karen. It's called A Christmas Karen. That's right. Plus the filmmakers behind a documentary called Doctor Who Am I? If you're a Doctor Who fan, you need to check out this documentary. We'll be talking to the filmmakers. So much to discuss. Twitter is still a fire, or a dumpster fire, if you ask me. But let's get started. Let's get going. Alan is waiting in the wings to join me. Alan, where are you? Alan?
Hey.
Alaning.
There we go.
How you doing? Hey,
good.
Season screenings, Alan.
Season screenings.
Wait, no, you got to see your shirt.
It's like I'm wearing the merch. You're not.
Yeah. Well, we have in the Film Threat shop, if you go to shop.filmthreat.com, we have added a whole bunch of new designs based on logos for should I share it? And just because I know people I know I'm doing this, and now I'm just going to expose myself. I stall at the beginning of the show because I know people just, it's going live, and then they miss like the first 5 minutes, which is perfectly fine. But I stall, and I like to talk to you about stuff that's going on. So here we go. Here we have, if you're still looking for something for Christmas, we have the alien unisex t-shirt. It's the Film Threat logo, but using the alien logo. We've got a couple others here. This one is Tron inspired. Can you see that at all? I don't know. I'm not looking at the screen. And then we have another one that's it's our Maverick shirt.
Oh, here we go.
So there you go. These designs, I think for the most part, these were done from a guy named Jim from Portland on our Discord. Nice. So, and look, you can even get a Hollywood on the Rocks shirt. How's that? How's that? There you go. Fantastic. So go to shop.filmthreat.com and check out all of our new designs. So there you go.
I'm just glad these models are still willing to work with you.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to take away your social media for a while.
Yes. Oh my God. I saw Adrian Curry entered the chat and was taking no prisoners on Twitter. She got into the Twitter mix of this nonsense with my tweet that was blew up, and she
your 4-word tweet,
my 4-word tweet, which I think will turn into, that should be our next shirt. I was talking to Gary Beekler, Nerdrotic, on the old Twitter. Yes, we DM on Twitter. That's how we do. Where did I put that? So he was suggesting that we take this design and make t-shirts and hats and then just donate the proceeds to testicular cancer research. What do you think? Does that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm for it.
Do you think that would make a good?
I don't know. Can you sell that logo? That's my own question.
Yeah, I don't know. But someone suggests, Gary's just sell t-shirts and hats and donate all the money to charity. I'm up for that, but I don't think Film Threat should do it. I think someone else should do it. So if or when they're made available, I'll tweet the link out, but I think that's the way to handle this, is with little humor, and also let's turn lemons into lemonade. Let's raise money. Let's raise money for charity. How about we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to kind of give consent for the design and the idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know. We could get in trouble. Also, whatever. I mean, if they shut it down, fine. But yeah, that will not be made available in the Film Threat shop. Before we get to our reviews today, we've got a bunch of reviews. And The Whale, I cannot wait. You and I.
Yeah.
No, don't say anything.
We've not talked about it, so I'm curious.
We haven't talked about it, but you know what I did? You're gonna think I'm a crazy person. I went to the Whale screening and I brought this giant cookie. It's Kiri's cookies. It is a huge chocolate. It's literally just infused with chocolate. I got 2 of them at the Black Cinema Awards on Monday.
Yeah.
And I consumed just a portion of this cookie while watching The Whale, which was not easy. But also they realized that you could not eat this whole cookie. So the cookie comes in a bag that you can unseal and then reseal like a Ziploc bag at the very top. Can you see that?
Yeah.
On the Kiri's cookies. Kiri's cookies. Anyways, I brought that to The Whale. I thought I'd be hungry.
Inspire you? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I thought I would be hungry, and I think I made a huge mistake. Let's go to the chat and see who's here. Let's see. Enrico Palazzo has a $10 super chat. Says, thoughts on theater etiquette. I have literally been in the back row of an empty theater and had someone enter and come sit in my row 10 feet from me. Is that me or him? No, that's not good theater etiquette.
Yeah.
If you are in the back row and the theater's empty and someone sits in the same row close to you, that's weird. Alan, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that is weird, and I'd start coughing at that point.
I've done that. I am fearless in a theater when it comes to behavior that's unbecoming of an audience member. Like, I'm all about laugh, applaud, gasp, react to the movie. But if you're texting, if you are talking where it's not oh, go get me some popcorn at a whisper level, I will raise my voice and I will literally say in a voice, please be quiet. And I'm a real dick about it, actually.
Yeah.
And I've gone so far as to people who will not I'll pretend sneeze behind them. So yes, I am a jerk.
I found that when we got back from COVID and back into the theaters, people forgot that you're not supposed to talk during the movie, as they had been doing throughout the entire pandemic.
Precisely. It's weird. It's people's theater etiquette. So Enrico, I could say just sort of common sense, how you would act around other people is just not. I feel like people have lost it because they're just used to I'm just going to stream this at home. I'm going to watch this movie at home. And what do? You talk, or hey, I'm going to go to the kitchen, whatever. It's ridiculous. So you're right. People need to be retrained. You're at a movie, quiet, please. Any interaction should be soft spoken. Could you get me another popcorn? You know what we should do, Alan? We should do some videos. We can call it movie theater ASMR. I've got to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. Would you like an extra popcorn? No, don't get me popcorn. I would like a Raisinets. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just going to use the restroom. I might make a call or a text because I don't want to disturb the people around me. I'd like to be very considerate that there are other people in the theater. So I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'll get the Raisinets and popcorn, and I'll be right back. Could you listen to an hour of that?
Yeah, my favorite is, what did he just say?
Wait, can you hear me or not?
What was that? What just happened?
Anyways,
Yeah, we should do that.
No, let's do it. Let's just do. It'll be just on a loop, like you and I in a movie theater speaking softly, and it's just you can put it on for 2 hours, and you can have it as your background, and it's you and I do. Okay,
we can make like an Alexa app out of it. And you
well,
at home and...
we could do a video and just upload it. I think that's how we should do it. And we'll put like a movie theater background, like we're actually in a movie theater. And okay, we'll do that. All right.
Or we could do like a 2-hour one, and you could bring it as a podcast into the theater.
Well, I mean, I think it would be hilarious. So we should do a bunch of these, like individual videos. How many videos do you think we should do, Alan?
69.
We'll do 69 videos of these. And wait a sec. Okay. I see some new.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen these. Glanuccio is baiting us. He's baiting us. Let's go back to the chat here though. Philo Beto for 179 pounds says, "Hi, Alan and Chris from the freezing UK. Great show. Thank you, Philo."
Hey, it's freezing in Southern California too. It was 50. It's getting close to 40. I mean, my God, how do people live?
Oh my God, it's in the 40s and 50s, and it's going to rain this weekend, which is a perfect time to go see a movie. Dempsey goes on and says 10 feet is probably fine. If they sit in the seat next to you, that's weird. But first of all, Enrico's that it's in the same row. How could you, if you're, the theater's completely empty in the same row? No way. That's a hard pass.
Yeah, but it is the last row, and I think, it would be one thing if he was 2 or 3 rows up.
Yeah.
But, the last row, I kind of understand.
Amanda Nowicki, who's a member, thank you for that. Keep checking the members community tab, members only community tab, because I'm going to try and do a bunch of giveaways. There, we've got Blu-rays, digital codes, just, it's the season of giving. But Amanda says theaters need ushers wandering the aisles again. Yeah, they never do that. Like once the movie, in fact, they're not even when the movie starts. I used to love the ArcLight cinema. Remember at the ArcLight, they come out and say, "You're just about to see Avengers Endgame from Marvel Studios." Woo! The movie stars, and then and just like, now have a good time, and everybody please, they would just basically a reminder, like, could you please be quiet? I mean, AMC does a little video that says, don't talk or text, but we need more of that. Solomon Thornton says, "I heard the news about DC, but I'm being optimistic about it. Also, I remember when I saw the first ever actress in an action film, and her name was Jennifer Lawrence in Terminator and Kill Bill. I love Jennifer Lawrence in both of those movies."
She's awesome. Wasn't she an alien?
No, she was Mystique in the reboot of the X-Men. So there you go. That's another thing I could just put below that Twitter thread. I just put a t-shirt that says X-Men or just say X-Men. I mean, I don't know. What are they going to call it? X people? That's so stupid. The word mankind is gender neutral. It includes mankind is everybody, right?
I think they should just call it X. How about a movie called X?
Murdoch 86 says, "Hello, Film Threat. Thank you for giving me some entertainment during work." All right. Well, you know what? You're stuck at work. You can listen to us or watch us having us playing in the background. We appreciate it. Steve Wright says, who's a member. Thank you for that. Excited for this one. And a Bromide 01. Don't call it a comeback. It's a return. David Glenn says, who's a member, "All hail Jennifer Lawrence, creator of Life, Universe, and Salisbury Steak." Well, she was in Mother, which was weird. She was in Mother?
Yeah, she was in Mother.
The Darren Aronofsky today. David Glenn says that Kim Basinger
69
today. How old, Alan?
69.
Kim Basinger turned 69. I'll bet you
won't need me on this live cast. It's not a video.
I'll bet she looks amazing. And Cranky Writer just became a YouTube member. Thank you,
Cranky Writer.
Thank you, Cranky
Join
Writer.
that Discord. I think we need to update the link on that.
Oh, you can do it right now, Alan.
Yeah.
So wait.
That would be me turning Discord on while we're streaming.
No, just put it. I know you can do it, Alan. Just Go to open a tab. Just open a new tab. Are you using Chrome or Safari? What are you on?
Let me see. Hold on.
Open a new tab in your browser, whatever browser you're using.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Go to the Discord. There's an upper tab.
Yeah, I got
exactly how to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have the link.
No, you got the link. Okay, now go to our YouTube channel. Are you logged in? Oh,
hold on. Hidden use copy button. Okay. Doing what?
Okay, wait. We'll get to it. We'll get to it in just a sec. We're gonna finish up the comments. No, community tab, members only.
Okay.
You can edit the old or just post the link. This is for members only and new members.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
Alan, 10 seconds.
Join the chat.
Alan, I know you can do it, Alan. Do it.
Okay, and then I make it visible to
members only. Members only. Alan, 1 second.
Not done.
Oh my God. Oh, it was great.
We can live again.
Oh my God. I was getting stressed out. The audio was increasingly getting loud. The time frame we were losing it there.
I know. I had to open my AOL browser.
Was it web crawler 1.0?
I had to enter my AOL code.
Yeah. Oh wait, here's Robert Paul Champagne says X-Man. I love that. My God. Abomination says I love Jennifer Lawrence playing the three main characters in the 70s Charlie's Angels show.
Well, even the 90s Charlie's Angels movie.
I know, like I loved the Charlie's Angels show when I was a kid. That show, I mean, I was a little kid. I love that show. It was,
Did you have the Farrah Fawcett poster?
Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
Mm.
Freaking awesome. God, she was great. That just sort of spinning around and she has a new outfit. I loved it. Alan's AOL must be down, says Depeche Commode. Oh, I love that. This scene just built way more tension than any of Ann Bohr's scenes, says Captain Cook.
See, the chat, the comments are still pretty divided on Andor.
Oh, they are? Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Slow burn is not a turnoff to a lot of people.
Well, when Kevin Rubio pointed out that was basically Les Mis, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because there are a lot of boring parts in Les Mis too. More MAGA says Jennifer was great in Thelma and Louise, played both parts stunning and brave. Oh my God, the comments of people from on the Jennifer Lawrence thing is hilarious. Corey says y'all need to do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 style video, not the entire movie, just like a small clip or something. Sure, we can do that. Let's do it. Wow, for 20 positive fandom. Thank you for that positive fandom. Hi, gents. Thanks for last week. Had a great time. Been enjoying the temps here. It's better than New York right now. Now, Mom and I saw Violent Night, a great holiday film. Let me know if more events are coming up while I'm in town. Yeah. What event? I mean, there's not. Things are kind of winding down. Things are winding down in this town. So, and I'll say this: I have a prediction that there are going to be a lot of layoffs at a lot of entertainment companies, and I know this. Why do I know this? There are no holiday parties. There are no invitations to Alan and I. None of my friends said there are no holiday parties because having a holiday party at a studio is a bad look when you've laid off 1,000 people or you've killed a bunch of TV shows or you've laid off hundreds in a particular department. So great.
Yeah. I think we're in basically the post-COVID lull where because the studios have been shut down effectively for a year, 2 years, I think this year's the years of that suffering, and we're just not getting. Sorry, let me.
Oh wait, read that was the MK Solid 8. I want to read that one, but no, positive fandom. Thank you for that. I love your name, Positive Fandom.
There you go.
Let's be positive. Let's have a little tolerance for other people's opinions about everything that's out there, whatever your opinion may be. We can have tolerance for opinions, even those we disagree with.
Yeah. Yeah, and can we melt down over tweets that are over 4 words long?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for that positive fandom. Zavin is back and says Jennifer Lawrence was especially good in the first few X-Men movies as Mystique before ultimately giving up the part to Jennifer Lawrence. That's a good one.
Poor Rebecca Romaine.
Oh, wait. Spidey Sensei 72, who's a member, thank you, says AMC Plus and Shudder getting rid of a lot of people too. Really sad times out there. That's why there's no holiday parties. Literally, at this point, we would at least receive some invitations, or I would be like a friend of mine's plus one to like a holiday party. And I'm getting zero. They're just, no one's doing a holiday party this December.
Yeah, and again, you could tell by the quality of the films that are coming out, the lack of blockbuster movies.
Right.
It's mostly these art films that we're seeing, like The Whale, Empire of Light, and and I think the studios are skimming back on their marketing budgets as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Thumper JDM had a better one. Book tickets to Studio Movie Grill. You reserve your own seats. The only other 2 people to book tickets did the seats right next to us. Arg.
Oh,
that's bizarre. And I love Studio Movie Grill, but yeah,
I'm glad they're still open.
Yeah, no, they've got like the reclining seats. They bring the food to you. You can order food and drinks, and it's awesome. Studio Movie Grill, if there's one near you, strongly recommend that theater. Alan Horkins says, worst time of the year to be firing people. True. Steven Anguiano says, Chris is a filmmaker in San Francisco. What is the best route to get financing? Would a film proposal work? Any tips would be great. No, a film proposal will not work. Here's what will work: crowdfunding. It depends on the scale and the size of the production you're trying to do. But here's what you can do. A friend of mine, I did not do this. I did not write this. If you email me and contact me, go to filmthreat.com/contact. Contact me. I will send you this I'll send you this document. I'll do this for anybody. But if you contact me through there, say, can you send me the crowdfunding document? A friend of mine wrote an essay. It's a long essay where he gives you all the best tips on how to crowdfund specifically for an indie film. And he talks about exactly what you need to do. So I can't answer all. It's a big question. To me, crowdfunding at the beginning level is the best way to do it. I recommend always, when you're crowdfunding, go for a small goal, go for 5,000, then have stretch goals. And then also be sure that you front load, like contact a lot of people, because if you make your goal on day one, if you get a third of your goal on day one, you're definitely going to fund. You need to be at 50% of your campaign. You should have raised 50% of the funds you're trying to get. So always go for a very small goal. You're trying to kickstart, not fund the entire movie. So get and always just lower your expectation. And it's a 24/7 job. I've done 2 unsuccessful Kickstarters and 2 successful Kickstarters. It is really hard to do. So contact me about that document, and I'm happy to send it to anybody who wants to read it. Luther Talbert for 10 says, Gore morning. As far as theater etiquette, it's the same with public bathrooms. All the other stalls are open, so why are you going into the one right next to me? Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. The only time you would be in the middle stall is because there were already 2 people occupying those stalls. Then you got to go middle stall.
Yeah, but you got to start with the ends and then skip in toward the middle.
Alan, I want to hear more of your thoughts about bathroom etiquette.
Yeah, always start at the end. If you're the first one there, don't be the dick and go right to the middle. Go to the end.
All right. Matthew Hammond for 2.
There's a gap between you and the next person.
All right. Matthew Hammond for 2 says X-Men is now X-Mix. Excellent. And thank you, Luther and Matthew, for your super chats. We answered that one. CD Stein 69 for $4.99. Okay, with all the ideas coming in, I got it. You guys do a PSA for movie theater etiquette in the Captain America style, then do an MST3K review of it. We could do that. I have a thing like about 3D. God, Glenn, I tried to find it. Glanuccio in the back. I tried to find this video I did about 3D movies for two-eyed kids, and I can't find it. So there you go. We got to get to reviewing movies here. Just two more comments and we're jumping in. Alan Horkin, phone should be off for the entire movie. I always go airplane mode. It's just being considerate. Smartwatches are verboten, no flashing anything. I do wear a smartwatch, but I have like long sleeves. So I pull it up over my watch. I'm always thinking. I'm so pre-coffee right now. It's not even funny. MK Solid 82 says, Chris, I found your John Schnepp rant very moving. The Twitter backlash you received was so ridiculous. You are a nice guy and respectful to your fans. Keep it up. Well, I'll always do that. I'll even be respectful to people that don't like me. But what's weird is just how weak people are. Kind of feel like, like it really is just kind of an innocuous thing.
Yeah.
So
to invoke someone's name who passed and was respected, and then try to shame you with it, knowing that it's the assumption of I know what this person would have thought and how they'd feel, and there's a little bit of arrogance there.
That crossed a line for me. So I am no longer going to be interacting with that person. I actually had that person because they're so annoying. They always come after me. I had that person on mute. Mute doesn't work. Mute does not work on Twitter. It is broken. I have muted. I don't block people. I mute people. I just now started to block some people. I'm like, if I feel you've crossed the line, you don't get to look at my tweets and you don't get to interact anymore. I have changed my policy. This is my official announcement. But I'm also don't talk about blocking people. The next person who does this, I'm going to block you. I just do it quietly. I have a certain set of skills and I'm going to use them quietly. All right, let's get into it, folks. We got a lot of movies to review, a lot. So let's get into it. We're going to save The Whale for a second. I want to hear Alan's Empire of Light review because let me get to we don't need the music for this. I'm just okay. Here we go. Alan, I want to hear Empire of Light. Your thoughts on Empire of Light. Stars Olivia Colman, a woman who works at a very prestigious movie theater, which is kind of on its last legs. It's not particularly successful. Mm-hmm. They get the premiere of Chariots of Fire. The movie is set in the 80s. And I found the setting beautiful, the performance beautiful. Alan, what did you think of Empire of Light?
Yeah, I think you liked it more than I did. I mean, it was an okay movie. I don't know. It's it's award season. We're getting all these dramas. I just feel like I've seen this kind of movie a little too many times. I think the highlight here is just Olivia Colman and her co-star Michael Ward, who plays Steven. Steven is a young black man, and we have to emphasize that, who gets a job at this movie theater, and he meets up with Olivia Colman, who is kind of the theater manager, and she's very good about her job. She's very astute about her job, very serious about her job, to the point where he gets yelled at for, I forgot exactly the first reason why he gets yelled at. But over time you realize that Hillary, Olivia Colman's character, has, I would assume it was, they say it's schizophrenia. It feels more like bipolar disorder. And she has been hospitalized for that in the past. And that she is basically given this job because it's the only job she can handle, the only job that she can effectively get in her condition. And as a result, her boss, Donald, played by Colin Firth, takes advantage of that, sexual advantage of that. And then when she meets up with Steven for the first time, there's a relationship that builds from there. And so the movie is kind of like, it deals with racism against Steven. It's also dealing with Hillary's schizophrenia and this odd friendship that kind of is born from that. And it's all within that context of movie theater, of an old time movie theater, and this impending premiere. And I I appreciate the movie. I'm not sure that I was over thrilled or wowed by it. Again, I think I've just seen this too many times, um, and I've started to feel this way about a lot of my British movies. Just feels too white for me, and so I admire the film. I liked it. I just didn't walk away feeling blown away, which I feel like. Uh, it's weird, but I kind of want movies like this to blow me away, and I just didn't feel like it did. So, that's my feeling about it. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same mind as you. Like, I thought it was a great setup. It didn't stick the landing for me exactly, but I loved the setting. I love that it's like, oh my God, those are the types of movie theaters that I used to go to when I was I bought a car when I
It's
was
a movie palace. It's
it's a
essentially
movie,
a movie
yes,
palace.
a movie palace. So when I was 14, I bought a car which I fixed up. It was a 69 Chevelle SS that never ran. Finally ended up buying a Mustang. And because I wanted to drive on day one. My 16th birthday, I wanted to drive. Why did I want to drive? Was it to so I could take girls out on dates? No, it's because I wanted to go to the movies. I wanted freedom. A car to me represented freedom, and I could go to the movies whenever I wanted because I had my own car. So I loved it. And every Friday, I worked out my senior year of high school, so I could have graduated early, but I worked it out to my last semester in high school. I was done with school at 1 p.m, and I went and I would see every movie playing in the theater that opened that weekend, every single one. And if it was like at the Oakland Mall, I would just switch screens. Shh, don't tell anybody. Nobody ever does that. But I love it. Reminded me of that time, that excitement, the movie palace. And I love the conversations with the projectionist. Who's the actor who plays the projectionist?
Toby Jones.
Toby Jones is the projectionist. I love, because everyone who worked at that theater, the movie theater, was like a super fan of cinema. And so so I really got into the world, but the story kind of fell apart for me at the end, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because this is one of those May December romances. Am I using the right term?
Yes.
Much older woman versus with a teen boy. Young
he
adult. He
wasn't teenager. He was younger.
Yeah, young adult boy. He was in college age.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm like, and this is from Sam Mendes as well,
right?
And you're kind of expecting something amazing and great, and it's really a movie about mental health in the end,
right? Well, look, I love the first half of the movie, and I kind of feel like it kind of falls apart when it gets a little too. It's a little too. It doesn't go out of its way to preach, but it's all right there for you to see. And what can you say? Let's go. Wait here. I want to go. We have 369 people watching live right now. So smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Oh wow! We appreciate it. And wait a sec. What is? I have to. I'm just gonna see. Should I? So we didn't necessarily
hated it.
We didn't necessarily hate it, but it's a mix.
It reminds me of like those Merchant Ivory movies,
Right. Let's go to the comments here really quick. Some quick comments because we got so much to talk about today. Let's go. Retro Nerd Girl is here. Oh, so there is some charm to it. Maybe I'll check it out. There actually is some charm to it.
Yeah,
there really is. There's everyone working at the movie theater, like how passionate Olivia Colman's character Hillary. She's so passionate about movies, and she's so specific about her job, and people that work there. It's almost like they're working at a church, but it's a movie palace.
Well, the funny thing is, she's the only one who doesn't take advantage of the fact that she works in a movie theater.
Right. Let's see. Adrian Curry is here for 5. Giving some love, little heart. Love that, Adrian. Thank you for defending me on Twitter. It's it's not necessary. I can, but boy, you really just taking people out. And you were pointing out she had this great rant not a rant, but just a simple comment. The reason like women like Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa is hot and manly, and I mean, it's like it's such a simple thing. This was kind of my point. Is women like the male characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They like sexy beefcake alpha males.
So what you're telling me is that the general audience prefers to watch pretty people on screen.
Yes, they like the general audience likes attractive people in movies and television. So there you go. I love.
And we'll be getting to the whale soon.
Adrian Curry, I am a bitch. You are not a bitch. I love you, Adrian. You're so based and just such a common sense, good-hearted person. I've spent time with Adrian, and she is. I cannot rave enough. There aren't enough people like Adrian. I think that's what's happening in this world. There aren't enough people, just sort of core values that connect us. So it's sad to see this, but thank you, Adrian. Love you. Appreciate it. Davina Duckworth, In Living Colors, Men in Film, turned out to be prophetic. That's true. The Sound of One Man Laughing. Thanks to Alan for his earlier praise of Devotion. I saw it last night and I found it very moving and engaging. I hope to take my daughter to it. That's great. That's great. Also true story. It's one of those things what's that?
Have you seen that one yet?
I have not seen it yet, but it's in my,
it's in theaters.
It's in theaters, and it's in my. At some point, I will see it. Right. And someone asks, "What year was that, Alan?"
69.
69 was the year. So
I was 2.
Empire of Light sounds depressing, says Retro Nerd Girl. Parts of it are rough. There are parts of it that are very rough.
Yeah.
It's also I think it's worth seeing, especially if you're like a movie nerd. There are certain things you'll react to that maybe just a general audience member may not.
Yeah, I mean it's very much a drama, and I'm looking at Sam Mendes's CV. It's it's not 1917 by any means.
Right.
This is a pretty straightforward drama from him.
Yeah. Thank you, Retro Nerd Girl. And Solomon Thornton says, I pity the fool that don't smash that like button. I appreciate it. And Adrian Curry goes on to say, not just pretty, swagger. Raul Julia dripped in it for Adam's Family. 100%. 100%. And Fat Elvis's trailer looks like Oscar bait. Well, yes, this is. Empire of Light is an Oscar movie. It has important issues. You should pay attention to it. It's the most important movie you've ever seen this year. But what's so funny is how forgettable so many Oscar films are, like after the fact. Like, is anyone talking about Coda?
Yeah.
Coda. Does anyone remember Coda? Coda won Best Picture last year.
It was a brave movie that won Best Picture.
It's a movie that is very brave, lots of messages. It was very important.
Yeah, made great Oscar and award-winning moments.
Right. Red Terror 1978 says, Alan, it was no Disney dollars. It was no Disney.
Wasn't that Disney? No, that was. I'm trying to remember who put that one out.
And Want Biscuits. Don't know if anyone did this. I showed up late, but R.I.P. Kirstie Alley, one of the very few stunning women who are also legit naturally funny. I love Kirstie Alley. In Star Trek, she plays Saavik in Star Trek 2. Yeah, the first Saavik, and then they recast her in the third one, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah.
But always loved Kirstie Alley, also on Cheers, and she was outspoken. She was outspoken in an industry where people basically tuck their courage and their balls between their legs and just shut up and parrot the narrative and don't have anything original to say.
Fall in line. That's basically.
Yes, fall in line. I'm not good at that, and I really don't like when people tell me what I should do, like delete a tweet. Hey, Adrian Curry goes on to say, stupid Montana reception. Hope you're on in an hour. Well, you can always catch the replay. Adrian is in Montana. So there you go. I love it, Adrian. Adrian is also a member. Flaccid Phoenix says everyone needs to plunger that like button like Alan does.
Oh,
Wait, is there a video that's about that? I don't even know what this
can we
is.
delete that one?
What? Glenn will upload these videos and we haven't even seen them. I don't know what's this one. It says Evil Alan. Oh my God, these are great, Glenn. Oh my God, killing it with that. I love it. Yeah, plunger that like button. Kirstie Alley was really hot in her day. Summer School and a few others. She had looks that were similar to Cindy Crawford and Brooke Shields. Says MK Solid.
And that nice raspy voice.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, her voice is great.
Yeah.
She's great. Toxic Waltz N8 says tons of award-worthy films aren't doing too well these days. What does that spell for the coming years? They're still going to make them because these movies are less expensive to make than Thor: Love and Thunder. So these films will continue to be made because you can make 10 of these Oscar movies for one Thor: Love and Thunder. And if only one of the 10 that you make becomes successful, it offsets the loss of the other 9. That is the philosophy for a lot of the studios. The thing is, though, they seem to be resonating less, meaning one would blow up and suddenly something like a Kate Blanchett in Tar would blow up and start making a lot of money. It hasn't. Tar failed. She Said failed. Nearly every film that could be considered Oscar worthy will fail. I believe we're going to get to The Whale in just a minute.
Yeah.
Let's get to that.
Yeah, but the tough thing is, I think it's been mentioned many times, but because of the loss of the DVD market and the Blu-ray market, it's hard to make your money back on these things. You know, it's amazing that A24 and Neon can actually maintain a sustaining business going after these kind of Oscar bait type movies.
Yeah, they just seem to. I mean, it's these Oscar films aren't resonating with the general public, and at least
they never have, honestly.
Well, they never have, but there would be a breakout one. There'd be a one where, like, God, you kind of got to see that. The Crying Game. You really need to see The Crying Game. There's that one moment in The Crying Game. You got to go. I remember hearing that like way back when that movie first came out. Like, you got to see The Crying Game. I'm like, what? I can't tell you why. And then you see The Crying Game, and then, hello. Or as Alan would say,
Sparkle.
Wait, what?
Sparkle. You're welcome. I live to make clips. That's my job.
Just a couple more comments. Mike MC Wong. Hi, Chris. So, hey, Mike. And Mike was out for the evening. It was great to run into Mike. He was having private time with a lady at Islands. Thank you so much. Mike picked up our entire tab. Mike, you said you were just going to buy me a beer. Thank you picking up our tab. I was with a friend and my daughter. We're pre-gaming before going to see The Whale. I had the Blue Nami burger at Islands, Blue Nami burger and onion rings. It was delicious. And Mike, thank you so much. Mike MC Wong. That was so incredibly generous. Violent Night was awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you got to enjoy Violent Night. Yeah, it was great. It's an R-rated Home Alone with Santa Claus. Couldn't be more fun.
And I'll make more money than these Oscar bait movies we're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to make more money than the Oscar bait. Mike, thank you so much. Look, this is just to everybody. We have a movie meetup group. We just meet at either Islands or Yard House, whatever's having like a good happy hour, and we kind of like switch it up. We just pick a movie to see. We all just go see it. So we're all kind of in the movie theater together, and it's every Thursday night. Next Thursday, we are seeing Avatar: The Way of Water. Me and my group. And by the way, I was looking at the ticket sales. I'm looking like on the east side, like Riverside. Where I have friends out on the east side. Screenings of Avatar: The Way of Water are packed.
Yeah. I just bought my tickets in orange and it sold out. I got my tickets, but it's sold out now.
I'm looking at it going like, okay, like, and because I'll use the AMC app just to see like, well, how popular is the movie? And I saw that she said had like on Saturday night, the weekend it opened, had 7 people seeing it. 2 were seated together and 5 were single seats. And that just sort of describes the audience that movie is, I guess, appealing to. But every Avatar screening, and I'm like, I want to see it like again, I want to see it like maybe more than twice. But it's I was looking and holy cow, like everything is selling out.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But
yeah,
Mike, thank you again.
I mean, it's amazing. Again, put out a good movie. Don't screw around with us, and we'll come out and see your movie.
Well, what I'm really curious about, and we will get into it next, your assignment, if you and I'm not telling you, saying your assignment, should you choose, this is extra credit. Participate in our conversation about Avatar: The Way of Water, which will be a week from today. We're going to talk spoilers. I'll tell you a lot of the things that really bug me. Some things are just logic lapses or things that I thought were ridiculous. But I really want to talk about it more openly, and I want to get your opinion. The only way you can participate in that discussion is to see it for yourself and form your own opinion, and then let us know what you thought. But Mike, MC Wong, thank you so much. I want to say, Mike, your toenail polish was sparkling from where I was sitting. It was amazing. So very dapper man, Mike MC Wong. Thank you. Yeah. Movie meetup group, AMC Burbank 16, meet by the bat. We usually will take a photo outside by the Batman statue. There's a 7-foot tall Batman statue made of metal, some form of metal. It looks like
bronze, most likely bronze.
Is it bronze? Yeah. So yeah. Meet us and just like, what movie are you going to see? I'll tell you what movie I'm going to see. This movie, this auditorium, 7:15 show. Grab tickets, just be in the same theater as us. And then we usually go out for maybe one. It's so funny. If the movie's bad, we don't go out after. We literally like, yeah, I'll see you going home, whatever. If we enjoyed the movie or the movie has something to discuss, we'll go out for drinks and continue to talk.
Yeah. So, I mean, Black Panther was that movie.
Well, we wanted to talk about it. It wasn't good, but
I know. It's like, what did we
needed
just
to talk about it? Matthew Hammond for 2 says we need Adrian Curry on one Wednesday or Friday. I will talk to her about that. She is a bit shy about being on camera. I told her she should go on FNT. I think that would be great. Go on FNT. Thank you, Matthew, for the 2. Toxic Waltz N8. I don't like to deconstruct films a la Cinema Sins. Movies aren't meant to be watched frame by frame and ripped apart. Well, have you watched EFAP with Mahler? I think it depends on the movie, and he's hilarious, actually. Mahler, just subscribe to his channel. He does a show called EFAP. It's Every Frame a Pause, where he goes through a movie and he talks about how just he should be doing studio notes. That's how good Mahler is. Mark Johnson says she said might do better if they provided seating for cats. Oh my God. Zavin goes on to say, which goes away from Hollywood First, woke sermons or award bait, what is more valuable given both sets of projects tend to lose money? I'll take awards bait because occasionally it can be good. But
yeah, award bait doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It just means there's an obvious reason this movie was made, and that was to win awards.
Exactly. It doesn't always mean it's woke either. I mean, I don't know that you could say Kate Blanchett in Tar, the movie Tar, is woke. It actually addresses woke culture and that divide.
And the awards will boost sales for it.
Right.
She will get nominated, and people will see the movie.
Cool. Perfect cue. Chris, because of your Make Marvel Mail Again joke, I subscribed, mainly because of the massive protest of the 2 people that were offended. Keep it up. Thank you. Were the people that were offended were people I know in real life. I'm like, geez. Like, also, if you know me, like, one person was like, I've been watching you since G4. I'm so disappointed, Chris. I'm like, have you watched some of those DVDs days? I mean, I snuck in blue humor, good jokes, bad jokes, dad jokes. I didn't care. You know, I was just trying to entertain you while discussing whether to recommend or tell you to stay away from a movie. I haven't done. I'm not any different than that person that was doing DVD Tuesday. Just, you know, this is me on YouTube. This is me on Twitter. But thank you, Perfect Q. Thank you for the sub to the channel. The channel.
I was pretty excited when you showed up on Inside the Magic.
Oh, was I on Inside the Magic?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I used to read and follow podcasts when it was run by Ricky Briganti, but yeah, I was like, oh, Inside the Magic's still around, and you're a main focus of topic there.
Oh, they were like they didn't like it.
Yeah, they kind of, you know, similar to what Mary Sue said.
Great, I love it.
Yeah,
welcome to the channel, folks. And also, by the way, I have like 1,500 new subscribers since Monday, or followers since that tweet went out. So there you go. Eric Jimenez. Hi, Chris, Alan. Did you guys hear about Top Gun Maverick winning Best Film from the National Board of Review? I did hear that. I also heard RRR won something as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brock Samsonite, Tar's rollout was botched. I only had it in my area for a week and a half before they pulled it. I didn't even get to see it because of work. Sorry, Brock Samsonite. That one, it's probably on VOD now.
It is on VOD, actually.
Yeah. So you can see it on VOD, or you can rent it, you know. Swolzy says, who do you guys think is the best actively working director currently? Ooh, tough one. Are you talking blockbuster, indie, whatever? I mean, I will say Christopher Nolan, one of my favorites. I love Tarantino. I don't know, Todd Field, who did Tar. I think I hope he gets nominated for screenplay at the very least for that. God, that's really tough. I think it's like what type of director? You know, are we talking about Damien Leone, who did Terrifier 2? I'm not sure.
Christopher McQuarrie, that's the one I always look forward to.
Well, actively working director. I mean, there's so many.
Well, I mean, his movies are so big that he can't actively do one every year.
I almost think you got to go by genre, like popcorn blockbuster. You know, James Cameron, James Gunn, just people named James. I'm just gonna go with that. But no, yeah, that's a tough one. That's like asking me my top 10 movies. I those questions will make my head explode. But Swalsey, thank you for that comment and question. Last comment before we move on. We're going to talk about The Whale, I promise. Vinziger, aka El Otaku, aka the Weeb Pillar. Can the Backlashers explain why you like to play female characters in video games? That's what's so weird. Oh yeah, you probably know. I always pick a female character when I play a video game, whether it's like Mortal Kombat, whether it's a Dead or Alive. These are combat games, fighting games. Whether it's Street Fighter, I always pick Chun-Li. I don't know. I pick female characters because I want to watch a female while I'm playing a video game. I don't know. Cyberpunk 2077. I finished that game, and I played as a female character. V is the name. I can't wait for the new. They're adding like some new missions or something to Cyberpunk 2077. I'm all about it. And the Dune trailer came out. There's a trailer for an open world Dune game that's coming to PS5. I cannot wait. The Game Awards were last night. Shout out to Jeff Keighley. Congrats on building that event up. All it was like, I was looking at my feed on YouTube and it was just all game trailers. I love it. So there's a new Star Wars game. I haven't watched the trailers yet, but I put them in my watch history. But yeah, I don't know. I just like to play them. I don't know. I can't explain it for myself, except that's what I like to see while I'm playing a game. Alan, why do you play female characters when you?
No, I play Asian characters.
You play Asian characters?
Yeah. If I can customize it, I'll make them Asian.
Well, there you go. First of all, what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. That's my preference. Because I just don't see myself in video games, and now I can. I can literally see myself in a video game.
You can literally see yourself.
I know. My Sims all look like me.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Ironically, you and I met for the first time at E3.
When was? Because there's always like there's like 3 times I thought I first met you.
Yeah, no, it was, you were with one of your exes. And,
yes. Oh no, let's not have that conversation. Let's not have that conversation.
She's still nice to me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, most of my exes are still nice to me, so what can you say? But I don't know. Wait, what's this one? Oh my god.
You're getting weirder and weirder.
I love it though. I love it. But thank you, Vinziger, for your comment. I like to play female characters when I play a game. William Joseph Dunn. If Alan doesn't play an Asian character, he gets disoriented.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's disasianated. That's the proper
Boobs
and peepees.
All right. Let's yeah. Oh my god. See, I love dad jokes. I'm sorry. I just love a good dad joke. Last one here. We got to pivot. Pitbull on Pitball and Arcades for Two says, no, it was 3 times he, me to you. It was 69.
69.
See, there you go. All right. Moving on. Resetting here. We got to reset. Give me a second here. Give me 1 minute here. Hang on. We gotta reset this. Let's talk about Brendan Fraser in The Whale. The Whale is based on a play. It is directed by Darren Aronofsky. It takes place entirely in the apartment of a very large man. And
obese would be the right word.
What's that?
Obese would be
a very obese man who is a school teacher who teaches literature over Zoom. He's teaching writing as a college course over Zoom. He is kind of, I don't want to say obsessed, but he is taken with the novel Moby Dick. He is gay, and he has had a falling out with his daughter and is trying to reconcile with her because he is so obese. He's in danger of losing his life. I mean, he's in danger of having a medical incident that will end his life. And he wants to use the time that he has to reconcile with his daughter. He cheated on mom with a man. So, and that relationship went awry. That's the setup for The Whale. But what this is all about Brendan Fraser's performance. I will say, a warning, the opening scene of the movie, I'm only going to say this because it's the opening scene, because there are a lot of things that are grotesque in the film. The way he consumes food, certain sounds, you can practically smell the apartment that he's living in, or the little place he's living in. He has a caretaker that checks in on him, that is a friend, that's a close friend. He also befriends a person who is preaching the gospel, that is coming from a church and trying to save him and help him. These are the people that he interacts with that kind of enter his life, but we never leave this apartment. So if you get feelings of being claustrophobic watching the movie, that would explain it. But the movie is grotesque, not just because of the way he looks. I mean, he's very obese, where he's, the fat is kind of rolling off of him. You see how difficult it is for him to move. He has a walker. He eventually gets a wheelchair, and just simple tasks like picking something up off the floor prove difficult, where he has like this, it's like a device that you can grab items with, so you can get them quickly. And this movie is really difficult to watch. And I'm not even telling you that this is an Oscar bait film. It's really all about Brendan Fraser's performance. And how could you feel sorry for a guy that would allow himself to reach this state where he cares so little about his life? The thing that, and the opening scene I was going to talk about, should
you spoil it?
Well, it's the opening scene of the movie. It's shocking.
I know.
It involves gay pornography and masturbation. Let's just say that. And I don't, it's all I'm saying is that there are just like, you see where he's gotten to. He cares so little about himself at this point. He's just allowed himself to get to this state. He doesn't care about himself, but what he does care about is about what the heart of the story is reconciling his relationship with his daughter. So, and I do have to say something. I did see this movie with my daughter, and it really affected her. I mean, she was in tears at the end of the movie. The end of the movie is just will rip your heart out. Having said all of this, I mean, I just know it affected her. We had a conversation after, and it really, like, you know, him being the heart of this thing is he's this teacher of literature, and he's like, the weird thing about this guy, this is how I could relate to Brendan Fraser's character. He's incredibly positive in light of his predicament, and he cannot find a way to stop himself and his just impending doom. I mean, his cholesterol's level, his blood pressure, like, he is at a state where you will have cardiac arrest and your life will be over. And he doesn't care about it, and doesn't even care to do anything to stop it. But what he does care about is reconciling with his daughter. And he sees positivity in everything. He sees positivity in every person who comes along. He is friendly to the guy who delivers him pizza, who we never actually see. He sees sees everything in a positive light. He sees, even though his daughter is this negative, cruel, mean, she's posting things on Facebook about her dad and like how disgusted she is by him. She's never nice to him. She's so cruel, and he only sees good in her. And he sees good in her. And I don't want to spoil it. There's a payoff. The beginning and the end connect perfectly. And it is, it's a father-daughter story, and it really did rip my heart out at the end. And so, having said that, it's hard for me to actually recommend this movie, because people like Eric Weber are going to look at it and say, that's disgusting. Eric gave it a 1 out of 10, said it was the worst movie of the year. It's definitely not. But what was in the film didn't resonate with him. It resonated with me, but this is not a broad appeal movie. This is about Brendan Fraser's performance. The screening, I won't say was packed, but it was probably more than 2/3 full, and got a big round of applause at the end. And I mean, paid people to see it, not a critic screening. People paid to see it on Thursday. So I don't know if I can solidly recommend this. This movie is not for everybody. If you want to go through an experience that will rip your heart out, that will destroy you, that will disgust you, that also might move you, then you should see The Whale. This is also a movie I don't think I can see more than once. I felt that way about a lot of Oscar films. I'll see and I'll say, that is the one time I'm seeing that movie, and that's it. I'm sure I'll think of a lot like that, but it's just such an experience. And so there you go. It's a mixed recommend, meaning you should be warned before you see this film. But I will say that a lot of it is very relatable. You know, he had an affair with a student, which ended up becoming his male lover, and then, you know, I don't want to go too much into it. All I want to say is that a lot of the things they're all human things, right? And the tragic place he finds himself near death's door, and then looking for some sort of reconciliation with his daughter, is just very, very moving. Alan, what did you think of The Whale? Fraser's performance.
I'm mixed like you. What I like about this movie, and it does something that I wish all movies did, and I've mentioned this before, but this movie has a way to connect with people. You know, there's something relatable about him. I find myself relating to a lot of the side characters as well. You know, his caretaker who is angry because he's killing himself and he won't do anything about it. In fact, he's actively trying to kill himself through his overeating. And so the best thing I can say about this movie is that it's going to resonate with people. It's not going to resonate with a large audience. I don't think there's that broad public appeal that the movie has. But if you've ever struggled with addiction, if you've ever struggled with just trying to be accepted in life, if you've ever struggled with trying to make your mistakes of the past right, this movie, you're going to connect with that aspect of this movie. He's obese for a reason, and this movie ultimately at the end becomes this redemption story for Brendan Fraser's character, which I like, and I these are the things I want to see in movies. But at the same time, this is based on a play which I've never seen, and I think the problem with this movie is it's condensing a 4-hour play into I think just a little over an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and so things feel rushed. And I don't think the storyline with the daughter, a lot of these side storylines, I don't feel like are resolved in the right way, because the movie just needed to end. And so I think they're trying to take some shortcuts, and that's really my problem with the movie, is that it feels incomplete by the end, and when you get to the final resolution and everything, I felt like it needed more time to get to that point than this movie did. And so it's not a perfect movie. I think I think people who are struggling in life will connect with this movie. So yeah, mixed recommendation. It's not for everybody, but I can understand why your daughter has such a strong reaction to the movie. And I can understand why a lot of people have a strong reaction to this movie. And I can also understand why Eric Weber hates this movie.
Yeah. It's like, I understand, like, this movie is really kind of a, it's sort of like you're either going to find something in it that you're going to relate to or not. The fact of him being gay is sort of a minor. It's not really it's not a huge part of the movie.
Yeah, but it plays into the religion aspect of the film, which I appreciated as well.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of religion in any movies anymore. So I really liked his character and his character arc. The what would you call his character?
The door-to-door evangelist, basically.
The door-to-door evangelist.
Yeah. It plays into a lot of the stereotypes that evangelicals and Christians have received in Hollywood. Right. But at the same time, I know people like this. I absolutely know people like this.
Right. So there you go. Let's go.
But I'll just last thing. Brendan Fraser, he will get the nomination, best actor nomination. Whether he'll win it is another thing. But it's a very good performance.
It's a great performance. It is like makeup and digital effects. It's a combination to pull off the performance.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, this movie should come with a warning. It's very. The thing is, it's just some parts of it are just revolting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the being able to relate to it aspect of it. This is they're really trying to make a point with the revolting aspect of his behavior.
Yeah, and I will say I love the payoff with him being a teacher. He is a teacher over Zoom, which is sort of a comment on how we relate to each other now, so much over devices, like, Alan and I right now, we're all in different places. We're talking to each other. We're talking to you in the chat. So The Whale, it's rough. And if you're emotionally ready for a journey like that, I would say go on it, but also understand why you would not like it after you've seen it, and or it's a rough film. Great performance by Brendan Fraser.
I think Eric, when he talks about it, he's coming at it from a broad public appeal that this movie won't have.
Yeah,
I think that drives a lot of his thinking about what makes a good and a bad movie. And I can't necessarily argue with his thinking about it.
Okay, let's go to the chat. So a mixed recommendation on The Whale. Just be warned when you're going in. Special Agent Bill Maxwell says, "What's revolting? Is he just chowing down in detail or something? Specifically, what was disturbing?" Can you
sound
describe
design for one thing?
the sound design? So it's not just that he's just like consuming an entire pizza while pouring ranch dressing. It's like he's got drawers full of like candy and snacks. It's the way he consumes it. It's the way he moves around. He's grotesquely obese, and how he's trying to just do the very basic things. It's but it is I think the sound design is the thing that sells it. But yeah, that would be the thing. Amanda Nowicki says, I won't be seeing The Whale, but it's good to hear Fraser is back to acting and hasn't missed a step. Yeah, it is good. Pitbull on Pinball and Arcades for Two. He put on 300 pounds for that movie. Amazing. He actually didn't. It's all it's
although I could do that easily.
It's digital effects and makeup effects. But thank you for the two. $20 from I am Dia Brown says, I didn't appreciate your reviews on G4 until listening to you today. Please forgive me for not supporting your previous crowdfunding efforts. You don't need to forgive you. Give me a break, dude. You support me when you can. Look,
you're the immature person back then.
Well, I mean, on G4, here's the problem with G4. Here's the problem with the format, just to be specific, is I had often 4 to 5 minutes to talk about 4 movies. I literally was running a race. I'd sit there, we're going to talk about 3 movies today, and then like a quick recommend. And I would have like a card that was like a distillation of notes. Then I would write on the card and like circle things or whatever. I'd be looking at this card and I'd go, I have 1 minute to talk about this movie. And what I would do is every week they'd have me review like, whatever the big mainstream movie was, a Transformers movie, whatever, a box set of this. I'd have to talk about, the new season of Game of Thrones or Lost. Like, how do I talk about a whole season in 1 minute? And I would do it. So I felt very rushed. But I also, if you go back and watch some old DVDs days, you can find them on YouTube. I would always recommend like an indie movie at the end. So I'm not doing anything different now than I did back on G4. It's just now I can actually have a conversation. I can have a conversation with you. I can talk to you, and I can also go into more depth and detail. And I can also bring on people I respect, including Alan, and and you can get different opinion, which I really love, because Alan and I don't always agree, but I see a perspective from Alan that you wouldn't have gotten if it was just me. So I like differing views of opinions. Thank you, IMDA Brown, and don't worry about it. Just like hang out with us. But we have 500 people watching now.
Oh,
500 people. So, slap that like button, subscribe to the channel. What? So we have 500 people watching. That's great. So I appreciate it.
You gotta get into beatboxing. That's all I can say.
That's what I'll do. And let's see. Davina Duckworth says, have the protests against the movie died down? I wasn't aware of any protests. Alan, are you aware of any protests?
I'm not aware. The only controversy I heard about it was why did not hire a real obese person to play the role?
Oh, that's right. Because everybody has to be exactly the type of person who you have to be exactly the type of person you're either writing about or be exactly.
Like Darren Aronofsky couldn't have written this movie.
Well, I mean, I find all those arguments stupid and ridiculous because what are you supposed to do? Like you're writing characters of a different age. You're not that age. Or you're writing a character who has kids. Do you have kids? I mean, once you go down the rabbit hole of like all this identity nonsense, it's just stupid. And so, the protest died down. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Brendan Fraser is going to get nominated. I don't know that he's going to win. But Toxic Waltz N8, being a smartass, which is what Toxic Waltz N8 does, Christian Bale is going to put on 160,000 pounds to play Godzilla. And William Joseph Dunn says, MC Stammer. More comments here. Lackshit Gamber for 100 something in another Foreign Currency says, Chris, what was better, RRR or Avatar 2? The simple answer to that is RRR. It was better. It was better. But Avatar 2, I want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
Black shit Gamber.
Yeah. But I mean, me is like, I think I could sit through another screening of Avatar 2, just lengthwise. RRR is a tough one to kind of sit through.
Not for me. I saw it 5 times the theater.
I know.
It was awesome.
I've had my chance to see it again, and I'm like, 3 hours.
Well, I've watched it on Netflix a couple times. It's great. Yeah, but Avatar 2, we'll be talking about that in more depth a week from today. So thank you for your support for the channel. The Life Bear says, Bedazzled. More people should talk about that one. I agree. There you go. The Fat Acceptance Group's protests all negative portrayals of the obese.
Yeah. Because there's a reason why he's obese, as opposed to he's just obese and we should just accept it. I mean, this is probably, people are getting slammed left and right about the state of why people are obese. And this one really addresses the root causes of that. And I'm surprised it hasn't gotten a lot of conflict for that.
Well, it should. I think it's very brave to make this film because you see the humanity, you see the sense he understands what he lost and what he allowed, the state he allowed to get himself in. So I again, it's a very mixed recommendation. It's a recommendation with a warning. So Solomon Thornton says Eric Weber didn't like the film, but Brendan was the highlight. Yeah, I know that he did like the performance. Pitball on Pinball and Arcades for 2 says amazing. Brendan Fraser got that big for the role. Well, we know that he didn't really do that. And has become a YouTube member.
Oh,
Thank you. Wow, saw at LA Comic-Con this past weekend. She came to our panel. She saw Attack of the Dock at our secret screening and had very nice things to say about it. She really liked the film, which I was kind of like bracing for because I really made it for the nerd community. I made it for the nerd community specifically. So to hear that praise come from you in person is great. I can't wait to hang out at another con. We're going to be at WonderCon next year. I don't know what the dates are. I think it's in March. Early March, late March, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Matthew Hammond for 2 says Razor Fist's review of the Game Awards was great. I'm sure he made fun of it. I only care about the trailers and whatnot. The speeches are sort of dumb. And it really is just to promote the industry. It's like game preview night. And but I think it's fun. I don't think the awards take itself too seriously. So Shucksy says, who doesn't love gay pornography and masturbation?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Well, we could take that out of context, Shucksy. Watch it. Thank you for that.
WonderCon is March 24th.
March 24th. More than likely, we will be there for panels.
Yeah. If you stop tweeting, we will.
Yeah. Oh my God. I stopped tweeting. Thug Life Bear says, well, I'd probably see this movie if the redemption arc is good enough. It's
almost good enough.
It's almost good enough.
My feeling, there's a redemption arc, but
it's rough getting there. It's rough getting there. We'll say that. Zavin says, so a contrast of his relationship with his daughter balanced against his destructive hedonistic lifestyle. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Simple as that. But there's more to it. There's more nuance. And obviously, we gave you sort of the thumbnail of the beginnings of the story. I don't like to ruin or go through blow by blow and tell you everything, but just like what you can glean from the trailer or whatever, just kind of get you caught up.
Yeah. There's an interconnectedness with all the characters that is very interesting. And I wish I had more time to pay it off.
Yeah. And JL says, how do I become a member? Very easy. You go to the Film Threat channel. That's youtube.com, I believe, /Film Threat, or just look up Film Threat.
There might be a button on here.
There's a button that says join.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can go to that button. So there you go. Back to the comments here. Ed Mag sends in 1,500 ISK.
I think that's Icelandic kroners or something.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate the support of the channel. Fur to the Future says it should be used as a McDonald's commercial. I don't think so. The thing is this, although after I was like, I kind of feel like pizza. I should not have felt that way.
Yeah, pizza doesn't come off well in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, and Mike Has Bad Knees, who's a member, says it's okay to criticize men for being obese, but not women. That would be fat shaming. It is funny, like how okay it is to abuse men or particular types of men. It's like that's completely fine, or they're disposable, or they're the butt of the joke, and it can never be the other way. I believe in equality when it comes to that. You know, we should all be able to take jokes. Alan, I know, can take a joke.
Well, this is not even a joke.
It's not even a joke.
You should be able to address the situation in a way that is helpful to people.
Precisely. Yeah. But I'm just saying that, like, you know, being a target, right?
Yeah.
Certain people should never be targets. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I feel like we should all just be on equal footing and let the cards fall where they may. It's okay to laugh says Darren Aronofsky movies typically have little rewatchability, with the exception of maybe The Wrestler. Aronofsky doesn't pull his punches in a climate where self-censorship is running rampant. Kudos. I definitely say I love Darren Aronofsky. I mean, he is one of the most interesting filmmakers. I'll see whatever he makes. You know, The Wrestler, Mother, his movies tend to be rough, but they take a lot of risks. And but you're right, the rewatchability, like The Wrestler, yes, but that movie is also rough and difficult.
Yeah.
So there you go. And Gabriel Quiroga has been a member for 2 months and says, I grew up with Encino Man and The Mummy, and I thought Brendan Fraser was the next big leading man. Sad to see where his career went wrong. Glad to see his return. I'm filling in the blanks on that. But yeah, no, Brendan Fraser has talked about this. Look up interviews with Brendan Fraser. He has discussed that he was somehow like blackballed in the industry for a little bit. Like his career was kind of on the skids. I know there was a friend of mine that was trying to develop a movie with him called The Pilot, and Brendan Fraser was going to play Gene Roddenberry in a biopic about the beginnings of Star Trek. And I think he was perfect because Gene Roddenberry is an unusual looking person. And I think Brendan Fraser playing Gene Roddenberry in a biopic about Star Trek's kind of set in the in the 60s would be awesome. It would be kind of like Mad Men on the set of the making of the original Star Trek series. I think it'd be great. That project should come back. I got to reach out to the filmmaker who was developing that and see where the status of that project is. Because,
but
Brendan,
he's kind of getting a John Travolta type resurgence, it seems like.
Precisely. So yeah, no, I really want to see Brendan Fraser in more roles.
You won't see him in Batwoman, that's for sure.
Oh God, no, Batgirl.
Batgirl, then.
Batgirl, yeah. He was in Batgirl. Batgirl has now been
destroyed.
It's been destroyed.
Deleted.
What can you say? But Thoughts on Fitness has become a YouTube member. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Love that. All right. Now we're going to pivot. We have another. Do we have time for a quick review? Let's do a quick review here. Christmas, Bloody Christmas. I'm going to do a quick review because I saw this movie. This is going to be a very short review here of I'm going to launch right in. It is Christmas time. Violent Night is in theaters, which is effectively, Home Alone that is R-rated and incredibly bloody. But we have seen a slew of Christmas films that are not traditional Christmas movies, that are not necessarily filled with heartwarming messages. And one of them I just saw, it's currently playing on Shudder. It's Christmas, Bloody Christmas. It's a very simple story of a group of friends going out drinking on Christmas Eve. That's right. Bunch of young hooligans hanging out in like what looks like a Halloween store, like a Hot Topic filled with Halloween stuff, and they're just hanging out. And a mechanical Santa comes to life and goes on a murder spree and goes off. So you see this Santa just comes to life with it just is killing people in incredibly brutal ways with an axe and whatnot. And these sort of like punk rock kids like are being chased by this mechanical Santa. It's Jonah Ray is in it as a comedian. Jonah Ray, you know, from MST3K, has a bit part in the movie. It's hilarious. He's one of the kids being pursued. It's a raunchy, bloody Christmas movie. It's hardcore horror. I will say that the beginning of the movie is a little takes a little while to get going. The first 20 minutes is just getting to know these characters, and they're blabbing off, and they're all just ranting and raving, and is there going to be a hookup? Will they? Won't they? Well, of course. So it's all those sort of like tropes that come with like the horror movie where, you know, teenagers have sex and then they're, oh wait, there's a review on the Film Threat
Yeah,
website.
just posted this morning, Bobby.
Oh,
Bobby
what is it? Is it a good review?
6 out of 10.
7? That's good.
No, yeah, a 6 out of 10.
6 is still fresh, I would believe.
Yeah,
look,
still fresh. Keep going.
I'm not here to tell you it's the greatest movie ever, but once it kicks off after that sort of 20 minutes, boom, it is brutal, bloody, horrific. And it finally turns into, by the end of the movie, it's just Terminator with a Santa hat. So is it fun? Does it live up to the title? Absolutely. Currently playing on Shudder, and I give it a mild recommendation. If you already have Shudder, check it out. If you're not into traditional Christmas fare, then you're also going to want to check it out. Let's go to the chat. We have some very special guests coming on in just a few moments to talk about another.
Yeah, Bobby just mentioned the dialogue is horrendous in this movie.
I would agree with Bobby. The dialogue is terrible. It's sort of like Kevin Smith, but even more swear words and more grotesque sort of language.
Yeah, he calls it out. It's the swearing that got to him. The amount of swearing.
But it's excessive swearing where they're like trying to one up each other. It gets sort of ridiculous. But if you have Shudder, check it out. I love Shudder because like I discovered the sadness on Shudder. Shudder is cheap. I think it's like $5.
Yeah, and you can get it with AMC Plus as well.
Oh yeah, with AMC Plus. So there you go. Let's go to the chat right here before we get to our special guests joining us in just a few moments. Imperfect. 6 out of 10 is fantastic for a horror film. I agree. And Imperfect goes on to say, sounds like a Nicolas Cage movie. Portland 182. Hey, Portland 182 doing phenomenal work in our Discord. He's basically taken over the Film Threat memes section, the movie memes section. Wow. Double bill with Violent Night. It's actually perfect. It's a perfect double bill. Lord Thoth says, saw this advertised and went, nah. I would agree. It's also one of those movies like you don't need to pay 100% close attention to the movie. It's a movie that I feel like this way about a lot of stuff on streaming. You could fold laundry while you watched it. It's fun. Solomon Thornton says, a Terminator Santa Claus, that's cool. Yeah, once it sort of devolves into that, it's like, oh, I know what this movie is. It's just Terminator in a Santa hat. So there you go. And Alan Ansar says he couldn't play Gene Roddenberry because he's not dead. We were talking earlier about our conversation about Brendan Fraser. No, Gene Roddenberry passed away, so I don't know.
No, he's saying that he can't relate to a dead character.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Oh my God. That whole thing of like relating to, it's like you go down that identity nonsense rabbit hole. Things are just ridiculous. Are you supposed to be the same age as characters you're writing, the same gender, a parent, you're a parent to a son or a daughter? Like, just make it relatable. So Andrew Wordna says, so it's like that movie in the beginning of Scrooged. It is 100% like that movie in the beginning of Scrooged. Yeah. And Perfect Q says, is that Bloody Christmas movie a ripoff of the Silent Night franchise? I mean, a killer Santa Claus, I guess on that level, maybe it does, but I just think it's not an original idea. So, and Portland 182 says, thanks, Chris. Didn't mean to take over. Step it up, everyone else. No, take over. I love it. No, but I love that. Like you've raised the bar. If you go to our Discord, just go and you'll see Portland 182 is in the Discord, and he's awesome. Let's do a reset here really quick. A reset. As we wait a sec. Let me looking for something here. And we're gonna wait, what are we doing? No, I'll find it. Let's get ready for this. Let's get ready for this.
It's showtime.
All right. We have some very special guests about to join us here. Let me doing a quick reset. The phenomenon of Karen. The phenomenon of a Karen is a real thing. You have seen the memes. You have seen the videos. You know the haircut. But now a Christmas Karen is here. It's available on video on demand. It is here to, well, I don't want to say brighten your holiday, but definitely scold your holiday and ask for the manager. A Christmas Karen is exactly what you would think. It's a Christmas Carol with a woman named Karen who acts like a Karen. She's a bitch. She's mean to kids. She's mean to neighbors. And we actually showed the trailer recently at LA Comic-Con as part of our panel, Future Indies You Must See. And everyone who watched the trailer, it got uproarious applause. People thought the movie looked hysterical from the trailer. I have seen the film. It's delightful. It's one of those movies like that I would put in a category because I love the poster for this movie. I actually put the poster for the film on our Film Threat Instagram, which is just Film Threat. And I love it. It's like I look at that. I'm like, I can't believe this movie got made. It exists. I love it. This is great. I love that when indie filmmakers just are passionate and say, oh my God, no one's done a movie called A Christmas Karen. We're just going to make it. And we have the filmmakers, the co-directors are joining us. Please welcome John Binkowski and Lisa Enos Smith are here to join us.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, thank you for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. It's a pleasure to have you on. Let me see if I can do a little reset here. We're going to put you front and center.
Whoa.
Whoa,
that's
hey,
scary.
that's too close.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. But I want to talk to you about the film. I think it's really fun. Yes, it's a cheesy Christmas movie. You see from the trailer, the movie has a sense of humor about itself. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's the same story of A Christmas Carol, but with a Karen, which is actually perfect. Karen's kind of a modern day Scrooge anyways, right?
Yes. And the first female Scrooge, so we were happy it could be a woman.
It's the first female Scrooge. You gotta tout. Hey, you gotta tout everything about it. But I'm sure I could guess what inspired it. But what led to you saying, you know what? Because you can come up with a cheesy idea for a movie, but I know from firsthand experience what it's like. To make the film, you gotta write that screenplay. You gotta get the cast. You gotta raise the money. What led to you saying, so suddenly we're making this movie now? What got you in the director's chair? What was the journey from concept in your head to take one on the set?
Well, we were in the middle of COVID and we had this brilliant idea, another high concept film called Florida Man. And we were, we're shooting in Florida. We get Florida Man. Again, it would be based on a lot of the actual Florida Man stories. And with COVID, it was such a large cast. We started losing all of our permits. So we started thinking about what could we do this a little smaller? What could we do this a little better, faster?
But we still wanted to be kind of high concept. something where you listen to the title, you see the poster, and you go. The problem with Florida Man is when we got out of it, we went to check with our representative from Florida, and she said, I'm sorry, there's like 4 or 5 Florida Man projects going on now.
And none of them are shooting in Florida, by the way.
So wait, so you're in Florida right now?
We are in Florida.
We are in Florida. We're Florida based. And so write about what you know about. But we thought, we just said, well, what about A Christmas Karen? And I thought for sure there'd be like 15 of those out there. And there were not. So we actually have achristmaskaren.com and all that. So we hustled because we knew that this meme, we admit we're playing off of a meme, that it's going to be on a downward slice. It already is. It was super hot 2 years ago, and now it's okay. Everybody knows what it is. But we wanted to take advantage of it while we could, mostly to do a fun comedy. And it's about, it's about Scrooge and both about redemption. So we thought that would be cool.
Cool. What how did you shot in Florida then? So that's amazing opportunity of like talent and different resources there. I mean, there are a lot of indie films being made on the East Coast. What were some of the production challenges? And I have to say, the lead actress for your film who plays Karen, she's perfect. Did she come with that haircut, or did you have to
no
style her hair that way?
Wig. She has beautiful long red hair, and we put that awful wig on her every day. I felt so sorry for her. Also, she's an amazing improviser, comedian on her own. She's also was on the Carvana commercial during the Super Bowl, and she's hilarious. And she's the sweetest, kindest,
anti-Karen,
humble person maybe.
But so you have seen her on those Carvana commercials. She was the
oversharing mom.
She was the only one that really, and she used to live in Orlando, but she moved to Los Angeles, and she was the only one that we did bring from Los Angeles to help us out, other than our costume designer, who also Ann Klaus Farley, who really helped create the characters, the different ghosts and things like that. So the challenges, one was we didn't have a lot of money. We are self-funded, so basically, I drive.
That means we don't get new cars.
That's right. I drive a Kia Soul and make a movie, Yeah. But what we wanted to do was get a whole Christmas vibe. So we thought, well, if we shoot between the day after Thanksgiving and the day before Christmas, we can get all the Christmas lights we want for free in town, here in beautiful town of Celebration, and try to do that. Now, the challenge was, if we had a rain day, we would be so screwed.
We only had 22 days, and it was a lot of overnights, which is also problematic when you're switching over to just doing all nights.
Yes, and permitting is a challenge in different parts of Florida. Some places it's really easy. Where we were shooting, it takes like 10 signatures for a permit. So stuff like that. But we got past it, and we pulled it off, and actually post-production happened a little bit faster than I thought. Normally, most people go, "Oh my God, post-production," but post actually went pretty quickly, so that was good.
We've got comments and questions in the chat, so let's actually get right to it.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to the comments. Imperfect says, Karen, your holiday. Red Terror 1978 says, Christmas Karen 2, it was the man fault. Man.
That's kind of a plot line we've been talking about, because if something's going to pull Karen backwards, it's going to be a man.
Yeah, it's going to be a Florida man.
Florida
for sure.
man.
Davina Duckworth says, humbug, and goes on to say, I would like to speak to your manager. And then Red Terror 1978 goes on to say, shout out to Jennifer Lawrence for being the first female Scrooge.
Oh my gosh.
Alan and Sarah says, this one sounds like it might be fun. Then a question here from Brock Samsonite. Is this story a bit truer to the Dickens original tale, or is this an outright parody?
Well, it actually follows the story. In fact, we've been compared, which is really great. I mean, we're happy to be compared to Spirited, Ryan Reynolds' film. It was slightly, the budget for our entire film was their budget for their craft services table. But in comparison, they messed around a little bit more with the story. They really, had more of an interesting, plot twist and tale. We pretty much stick to it. She's not so good. She meets these 3 different ghosts. Where we spent our time having fun was, who are these ghosts? What is their personality, and how do they interact with her? Because it is a kind of an improvisational communication between her and all the various ghosts. So that's how we went about it. So I'd say it's really kind of true to the Dickens story.
Very true.
Other than the fact that in the Dickens story, Marley's ghost does not wear a chastity belt for change, but we do. We do.
Well, I will say this. I also have to compliment you on the running time of the movie. We live in a time where everything is over 2 hours. This is it's a tight comedy, under 90 minutes. Boom, you're entertained, you're in, you're out, and good time. More comments here from people. Sharing is caring. So, and let's see. Soul Bear says Christmas Karen sounds like a good concept.
Thank you, Soul Bear.
And then Perfect Q says, question for Christmas Karen. Is there a movement in the movie to bring down the Santa patriarchy?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
There's some old movies we grew up watching where Santa was kind of a jerk, if you recall, with Rudolph and like, you girls stay here, we'll go off and do all the fun stuff.
Well, having seen the movie, that element is not a part of it at all. I think they're referring to that show on HBO Max. That's actually like a plot line, which is ridiculous. That's not a part of this film. It's a completely
and some of the older films, like the old little cartoon Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Santa's a jerk.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be really interesting to have a lot of females in this film, and also not everyone's a bombshell beauty babe. We wanted to have a real kind of feel for this thing. Of course, it's comedy, so it's real to a point.
And then Obama Nation says, must have been fun making a Karen lecture about the surplus population. What the heck?
Well, we do use we say decrease the surplus population in ours, but we do refer to it. So
that's so funny. And Brock Samsonite has a question here. We'll wrap it up with this. Our last question here from Brock Samsonite. How long did it take you to fundraise this movie, and how did you accomplish that? That's a very good question.
Our real jobs, we have been working together for over 25 years as theme park producers. So we produce stunt shows and big shows for the different parks. And so it takes us about a year to take all the profits, hide them away, and build up enough so we stopped asking friends for money.
We did. We stopped asking. After your first movie, you ask friends for money, and then you lose all their money.
Then they say, my daughter could be the star. It's like, no.
So we decided to self-fund after the first movie. And in so doing, we have to scrape up the money to be able to get what we need. Luckily, we are lucky to be have business in theme parks. So if you've ever seen Waterworld at Universal in California, or the Bourne Stuntacular in Universal here, or Disney in Shanghai, we did a Pirates of the Caribbean. We do work with a lot of producers of major motion pictures doing recreations and stunt shows mostly for their IP. And it's nice for us to every once in a while create our own IP. So we're like,
why is it like this? Because we want it that way.
Right. Well, tell me, just a quick question about that. That seems like a fascinating business, because I love those stunt shows. I mean, they're kind of cheesy or whatever. Like there's one at Universal where they just kind of show you how stunts are done, and you see like people do these spectacular stunts. Like you're hiring people, there's a script for the show. Like what's involved in putting that together?
Yeah, well, and the thing is that we very well versed in stunt shows and action and things like that. And people have asked us, this is your 6th film. Why haven't you done a stunt, a show with lots of stunts, a movie with lots of stunts and things like that?
It's like, we can do it. We can do it.
We can, but it's expensive. So that's why we don't do it yet. But we certainly have the contacts and the wherewithal to be able to do it once we scrape up a little bit more money. Maybe our next movie will have some stunts and a few more special effects in it, we hope.
I have to ask you a question. You mentioned you live in Celebration, and I remember when that place first opened, Disney was basically your HOA. What's it like living in Celebration now?
Well, it never has been a gated community, and that's what disappointed a lot of people when they first moved into Celebration. They were thinking they were going to come to Utopia, and animatronics would welcome you, and Mickey would be. I was scared personally. I thought they were watching me, and then I would be like, all of a sudden, a loudspeaker in my house would go, kids, not on the couch, or things like that. But so really, it's a regular community, and since that time, there's been other ones that have been built that are similar. They basically went to Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, and reinvented porches and alleys. That's a concept. So there's now more communities. So it's just your normal average community that happens to be very close to Disney World.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, John and Lisa, for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. Christmas Karen is currently available on demand. Check it out. Happy holidays to both of you, and thank you for joining us on the Film Threat Livecast.
Thank you very much. We're going to be sure and get your mailing address so that we can send you some Christmas Karen ornaments.
And swag.
Wait,
Yeah.
there's
Swag.
Christmas
So
Karen
that,
ornaments?
so you can adorn your tree.
Oh.
Maybe give it to some of your fans that
Oh, they would love it.
Oh, they love it. We do a thing where if you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036. I will send you a Film Threat bumper sticker, and if the envelope's big enough, I'll throw in a DVD and some other stuff. But yeah,
Important question here: where can we see A Christmas Karen?
Yeah.
Oh yes, you can see it just about everywhere. Right now, a good place for people to see it is Pluto TV. It's free. There are commercials, but Pluto TV has it, and they've done a great job of advertising it. But then it's also on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, all of the different pay-per-views, and then pretty soon here it'll be coming out on all of the free with commercials. So I say, get on your TV and punch in A Christmas Karen. I'm sure it'll pop up.
It's the perfect movie to watch while you wrap presents, which actually is what I was doing when I watched the movie.
It is.
Nice.
Seriously, was wrapping
That's what my wife said. She's not my wife. That's exactly what my wife said. And she said it's great to wrap presents with friends while drinking heavily. So
awesome. John and Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Congrats on the movie. Take care.
thank you very much.
Thanks. See ya later. Bye-bye. That was great. That was awesome. Alan, you're large. Wait, what are we doing?
Now you
here?
are.
Let's change it up. Let's change it up here. A quick reset. Do we have any other comments? Real quick comment here before we get to our next special guest in just a minute or so. Thoughts on fitness with Nigel for 179 pounds says, wow, Chris, really love the channel and I love RRR. I love RRR. It's in my top 3 movies of this year. You know what I realized was the best superhero movie this year? The Batman.
RRR.
No. Well, it actually could. RRR could be like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But no, it's the Batman. I think the Batman was the best superhero movie this year. And I didn't super love the Batman. I mean, we discussed it for sure, but yeah, I'm
trying to remember what its competition was. You're probably right.
No, think of the superhero movies that came out this year. Black Adam, Thor Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. All of that.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
All right. Well, let's switch gears here. And I gotta ask. Wait, I'm switching gears. Don't worry, I'll get to it. No need for the music. A new documentary is out. And if you're a Doctor Who fan of any era whatsoever, if you're a Doctor Who fan, Doctor Who MI is the story of the long forgotten Doctor Who television movie that aired on Fox in the 90s. And this movie crossed a line and angered some fans. Doctor Who kissed a lady in this movie. Now, is that breaking lore? Who knows? But whether you're a Doctor Who fan or not, I love fandom, and I've been going to Gallifrey 1 for years. I usually hang out in the lobby and drink. I'm not going to lie. But also, if I'm able to get a badge, I'll walk amongst the Whovians and the Gallifreyans and enjoy the con. Amazing panels. The passion for Doctor Who at this con, which is at the Los Angeles Airport Marriott, is just palpable. And the love of that audience is amazing. Even for those that may have been upset by this television film, what this movie is also, it's delving into that movie, but also the screenwriter of the film, and the screenwriter revisits and sort of visits Gallifrey 1 and kind of comes out, so to speak, to discuss the movie after years of it really not being something that people knew about. In addition, if you don't know about Doctor Who and the origin of Doctor Who, it's a great documentary that walks you through the history of the character and why the character is so beloved. Because for years, I mean, Doctor Who fans are sort of like Doctor Who fans. My recollection of Doctor Who fans are in the nerd community, the kind of fans that other fans make fun of. They've always got the long scarves and the jacket, depending on which, doctor they're a fan of. What's your doctor? And I love it. The documentary has been in the works for years, which always tells me the filmmakers wanted to get it right. Please welcome the co-directors of Doctor Who Am I, Matthew Jacobs and Vanessa Yuille are here. Thank you.
Hello,
Vanessa.
hello.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
And I'm sounding all right.
Yep.
You sound perfect. You both sound
Great.
perfect. I met you a while back.
Like 2019.
2019, the before times. We debuted the trailer. Whoa!
Oh, hey, whoa.
It's never happened. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. You're on your phone here. But we screened the trailer for Doctor Who Am I at Comic-Con, I believe.
Yeah,
Comic-Con 2019.
that was
Yeah.
in San Diego. It was our first time we were there. So thank you for that. So great to see you again. And that was our sales trailer. And it was quite an interesting experience for us to sort of watch it there with an audience. And we were just sort of blown away by the entire experience. Yeah, Matthew, you're back.
It was very, very helpful. I remember it was a few years ago. We realized, I mean, you've probably seen the new trailer, the trailer that Kaleidoscope have. It's very different, slightly different. And we really focused the journey since then. It was a great experience to go to Comic-Con though, actually, because if you've been to, as you're saying, you have to Galley. Galley is a sort of fan-run convention. There's like 3,000, 4,000 people there tops, and it feels like it's generated by the fans. Whereas when you go to Comic-Con, you feel like it's an expo. You feel like this is all the companies are doing it. It's a very different feeling.
What first of all, the film is fantastic.
Oh,
Thank you.
Fantastic. I so love this movie because I've watched Doctor Who when I was a kid. I always loved it when they were outdoors, they were shooting in 16 millimeter. When they were indoors, it was shot on video. And I always thought that was funny. It reminded me of Monty Python. And so I would watch Monty Python. I watched that. It was such an experience. And then just seeing the new Doctor Who fandom is very different, with the Christopher Eccleston kind of reboot. I really love that there are a whole new, there are generations of Doctor Who fans. And this was an amazing film because it's your journey, Matthew. It's your journey back into this world to kind of, the movie opens with the sort of little primer, history of Doctor Who, the character, why he's so beloved, kind of setting up the story, but also you going through a storage container.
That's right. I'm opening the storage unit to the 90s, which is when we did that. And then it was really both of us, it was kind of Vanessa's idea to do it because I'd been invited to all these conventions after the couple of years or a year or two after the 50th, people started inviting me to conventions, and I didn't want to go. And Vanessa was saying, because I didn't regard myself as a fan. And I think that's kind of the journey of the film, is I go from not thinking that I'm a fan to sort of realizing I've kind of been a fan all along in a strange way. And it's not just about Doctor Who fandom, it's about storytelling as well. I think, I hope that's why the documentary will have a relatively good life. And I think it'll have a good life this coming year because it's the 60th anniversary of the show. This show's been around for 60 years, longer than any other sci-fi show. And so there's going to be a lot of attention on it. And Gravitas have picked it up for American distribution. And so we'll be, hopefully in theaters. In some places, they're saying it will be in theaters. In some places, we just don't know. So we've yet to talk to Gravitas about what the exact plans are. But I'm hoping that there's quite an audience for this documentary.
Well, one thing though is that Matthew and I worked on a couple of Matthew's other features, and so we were friends before. And it really is a film that came out of our friendship and this desire to like, oh yeah, we're just gonna shoot a documentary. And then over 7 years later, it's finally done. So it is it was a journey we weren't expecting to go on. And I think, Chris, back in 2019 when we showed the trailer, and I think you even were like, it will be a journey. I mean, we still hadn't gotten the money to do the finishing or anything, and we did that in COVID.
We hadn't got completion.
You're thanked in the credits, Chris.
Thank you. That's awesome.
As you know, being an adapter and really encouraging us sort of in the indie filmmaking front. But it's like Matthew is just a funny guy. I love him. He's my friend. And it's just like throwing him in with a bunch of like really nice Whovians. It just seemed like, because Matthew's kind of like Ricky Gervaisi, Larry David. So throwing him in with these wonderful Whovians, it was certainly going to get some laughs.
Yeah, it's and also you're an accomplished screenwriter as well. I mean, you've done so much. Yeah, as you're going through that the locker, you find like old versions of screenplays. I thought that was amazing.
I've done a few films, and it's it's strange because this is a very different kind of film. This is like Vanessa was saying, most films are sort of born of a kind of ambition. I want to tell this story. I want to, I want to prove just how great a filmmaker I am, and or I want to explore this or thing. This film was really born of friendship, and as such, it's quite a personal piece for both of us. We both came to it and that's why at the end the film is dedicated to our fathers and to various other people, but it's definitely dedicated to our fathers. They get like the second credit because I explore my relationship with my father and Vanessa. I think the father is there very much as well. So, and that's what happens in Doctor Who. He gets regenerated, so it has some sort of deeper aspects to it that we came across because it was born of friendship and not born of a kind of a sort of narrow idea.
Well, what I love also is you give like this whole like the beginning, like explaining Doctor Who and how long the TARDIS stands for. I love this. TARDIS is
a little TARDIS. There you go.
Bigger on the inside.
Turn the light on too.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you because so what I'm saying is if you've never heard of Doctor Who, what the movie does a really good job of is explaining why Doctor Who is popular and the concept behind the character and who the character is, then launches into your personal story and how you happen to write the screenplay that for the script for the movie that aired on Fox. Like it aired like once, right? And that was it. And it's sort of almost like a lost movie, even though you can find it. And just sort of the mixed reaction that fans had to it. And you don't shy away from anything. There are fans that hated the film and you get to talk to them.
Yeah. But listen, even when that's the thing about fandom, a good fan will they'll criticize you, but they're still fans. They still kind of like you, and it's still. And I didn't realize going in. I thought they might just kill me,
which I thought would have been hilarious.
Which also would have been hilarious, but really, they say things like, well, with all due respect, some people hate RTD, some people hate Moffat. With all due respect, people hate you. And they're saying that to me, and it's like, well, where do you go from that? And then you find that there is a place to go from that. There's a sort of mutual respect. They can tell you what they're thinking, and it's bigger than the show. When you have a community of fans, well, this Film Threat's very much about this. Do you know what I mean? It's very much about the nature of genre films, and the way in which the way the audience is a community. Well, that's what I felt anyway when we were in San Diego.
Well, the chat has a lot of questions for you. We've got over 300 people watching live. Let's launch.
Hello.
Yeah, let's launch into some questions right here, or comments. Patrick Lemire says it's interesting to see the evolution of production values of the series, especially early. It was fairly threadbare and it became cinematic. Interesting comment. More Maga says, what does the sonic screwdriver smell like?
That's a good question.
Maybe
I always think what the things smell like, don't I, Vanessa? Right?
You're smelling things. It's like, why are you smelling? Maybe sort of like not popcorn, but cotton candy. Maybe when it smells like cotton candy when he fires it. There you go.
Could be.
Davina Duckworth says, didn't the BBC lose a lot of old Doctor Who footage? I think they lost some whole episodes.
They lost whole shows. Yeah. The BBC were on an economy drive at various times. And so they'd look over, they'd say, oh, what are those? Those are the old tapes of that old show. And they just wiped them so they could use the tape again. And then they had to dig out telecines that had been sent to India and Australia. So there's a lot of early, you got to realize that when the show started, it was a small half-hour afternoon show on a Saturday afternoon for kids. Very small budget. So small that they couldn't even buy the rights from the writers. Basically, the writers would license per show for things. So as a result, you had writers like Terrence Dicks who ended up owning the dialects. And so the chain of title on the early TV show is incredibly complex because it was a very low budget show. And the dialects themselves, they look like cameras basically, and they can't go up and down. So it's
and
fun.
they had a whisk and a plunger.
And a plunger. It was a fun show, really dreamed up in many ways by the Canadian producer. There's a wonderful feature film. What's it called? The Time and anyway.
Time and Space.
Time and Space, about the original show. So it's gone through all these forms, and the great thing that's always happened is the show doesn't have a Bible. So whoever writes it can come on board and can reinvent and with new ideas. But as the fandom built, obviously the fans themselves created, a dogma, and it's that's kind of a little bit what the documentary is about how do you deal with the kind of dogma that a fandom creates around a project.
Lubitsch Touch Me says there are still about 100 missing episodes, but there are audio recordings for all.
So that's right. And they've started animating those recordings.
Oh my God.
They've started doing that. Yes.
Brock Samson says, what's your impression of the Jodie Whittaker era?
Well, what do you think, Vanessa?
I mean, it's great. Every Doctor is great. Chibnall, of course, is getting a lot of heat for what he's done with the show, but then now it's still regenerating into a new show. And then we get David Tennant back, and we're going to get Ncuti Gatwa. So it's just like, and there are we've met people who say Jodie is their favorite Doctor, and that is great. So I think that's the point of the show, is that it changes with the time. And, who knows, maybe it'll be like the 8th Doctor, and, years from now, people will be like, oh yes, the Jodie Whittaker years, they didn't like her.
That's right.
It's just,
and there'll be a documentary. There'll be a documentary,
right, about her.
What was
And
what was
Chibnall.
fan backlash like when the movie came out then compared to today? Do you think you might
think
have
people are a
lost your
lot-
career after that if it was done today?
He
It's-
never
it's a
talked
good-
about it. Of all of the credits that, like, I didn't know Matthew wrote the Eighth Doctor. I could have looked on IMDb, I suppose. But of all the credits that he talked about over the years, he never mentioned Doctor Who. So that's when we were like, I was taken by surprise as he's saying I'm being invited to these conventions, and I'm like, why? So I was surprised. Matthew, you talk about a lot of things that you've done, and he never mentioned Doctor Who.
Right.
Some
It wasn't
more.
because I don't like it. Your question, which is good, which is how did the fans' reaction manifest itself, and how is it different now? That right now people are much more generous-hearted toward the TV movie. They see it for what it was, a kind of a bridge between the classic and the new Who. At the time, as is pointed out by the executive producer in the film, whatever I'd written, they were going to criticize it. They were going to hate it, because when people reinvent something, quite often one of the first targets is the writer. And Jodie Whittaker, for example, has been an unfair target for people. I mean, really, what they've been doing with Jodie is they were sort of changing the tone of the Doctor. With Peter Capaldi, he got probably serious and dark, and it was great stuff. But then they said, no, this is a family show. Let's have this sort of really optimistic, upbeat character. And she's a little like a children's TV show host at times for some people because of that. But I liked it because there was, she has there's a tremendous warmth to her. And I feel like they kind of scratched the surface with her. I hope her character stays alive on Big Finish and in other places, because that's where the Eighth Doctor carried on living. These Doctors don't go away. It's such a dedicated fandom.
Well, I've always said I actually don't care who plays the Doctor. There's only one requirement: a British accent. That's it. You have to have a British accent. If you don't can you imagine Doctor Who without a British accent? It doesn't work.
No.
Bruce Campbell as Doctor Who.
Bruce
Oh,
Campbell would not be a good Doctor Who. I'm sorry. Another question here: did you get any support from the BBC?
For the documentary,
Yeah.
no.
we showed it to them at an early stage. We showed it to their documentary division, and they said, well, you really need to take it to the other, it's like a large corporation. So
Right.
you need to take this to BBC Studios. And we didn't want to do that because we didn't want the documentary to really be about the show. And so that was the only time we took it to the BBC. So far they haven't, stood in the way of it. They've been actually quite supportive, that by not objecting to it. I think we're covering something they can't cover. So, and I think it's nice to have stuff that's out there about the show, because they spend a long time making those shows, so it helps keep the audience alive, I think.
A few more comments and questions here. Let's get Davina Duckworth asks or comments. I didn't believe Peter Davison was the real Doctor for a long time. And then Sitback says, does it show the decline after Matt Smith? The movie's not really, it's not about that. It's Matthew, or your journey, but it is for, I think this is for, if you are a Doctor Who fan, this is from where I sit, it's a must-watch documentary, because your story is about, the divides even that can happen in fandom when people love this or like this, and then you're going in the belly of the beast, Gallifrey 1, just
and Long Island too as well.
Yeah, just to well, here I am. I did that one that a lot of people have problems with, and I love that. So it doesn't really deal with Matt Smith stuff. Solomon Thornton asks, so what was the process of doing this doc?
What was the process?
Yeah.
Well, the process
It was
basically-
went out and just decided to go shoot this. Matthew was very reluctant. He didn't really want to go, but kind of was like, okay, let's do this. And it was very much about the fans at first. I mean, I wanted it to be about Matthew because he's my friend. It's my first, I've done some other short documentaries. This is my first feature. And we just are kind of finding our feet with what is co-directing. So then Matthew would interview people and ask questions about like, who is the doctor in you? And then I would interview. And after our first film shoot with Gallifrey 1, it was kind of like, Matthew said, oh, we have our feature film. And then I'm like, no, we have to keep filming. So then we met fans and went into their homes. And then we were invited to Long Island Who, when we kept filming there. And then it was really getting into the edit at that point, which it was my first feature editing, because Matthew put a lot of, trust in me to do that. And then from there, it was like, there are other things we needed to get. We needed our drone shots. We have like 3 drone shots. So now we're like, a slick documentary. And we had to get Eric Roberts. But really it was the process developed over the years, because we weren't entirely sure what we were getting at first. I mean, Matthew, you take it away as well.
Yeah. I think we were, we spent a good couple of years on and off going around filming stuff, and then we cut it together. There was a basic shape there, but we realized it was more pivotally my story as we explore this journey of going from not knowing that you're really a fan to knowing that you are a fan, and recognizing that moment. I don't know if you remember it, where I've been filming Paul's birthday on the phone, and I'm up being interviewed there, and I'm very disturbed about having to do a panel about the gunfighters, because my father was in Doctor Who in 1966, and so my relationship with the Doctor goes way back. And I think it was around that time, when we got to Long Island Who in the fall of 2015, we started to realize really what the focus of the story was.
Or we knew that was important.
And then it was a couple of years of editing, really, on and off, and bringing various people in to look at it, like Colin Vaines and Lee Stobie, who was my manager, and people would have really good comments, and so it evolved. By the time we were talking to Eric Roberts, we kind of knew what the film was in those years, and then it's that struggle that all documentaries have, of raising completion finance, finding a distributor. Luckily, we found Kaleidoscope when we won the Audience Award at Sci-Fi London. That made all the difference, and The Guardian covered us. There was all sorts of coverage, and so as a result, we got a very good distributor in the form of Kaleidoscope, and that's really, why we're here talking to you.
Well, I love that you included all of your trepidation regarding going back to this fandom, your apprehension, how will I be received? All of that is the personal touches and things you included, I think, are very important. It's also with the documentary. I've made a documentary. I have a documentary myself that's coming out in April. Yeah. And you got to know, like, when are you done? Are you done? How do you, is it done yet? You don't know, but I'm so glad you're able to, document all of this. One last question here from Lubitsch Touch Me asks, for Matthew, have you followed the development of your Doctor through the Big Finish audio adventures?
I peripherally is the best way to say it. I occasionally listen to little bits of it, follow what people are saying about it, but obviously during the main years when it was just Big Finish was like the only place, and they were really featuring the Doctor. Those years I was off on other films like Emperor's New Groove and TV shows and God knows what, so I was doing other stuff, and then no, not really, but I think I love the persona that Big Finish has given, because I think every Doctor sort of develops a bit. They get they come into being as a certain kind of Doctor, and then it takes a few shows at least for them to sort of settle down to their personality. And I think that's what happened with Paul with Big Finish. He's really cemented his personality as the 8th Doctor on Big Finish.
And just a final comment here. Davina Duckworth says, I'm really looking forward to this movie. Just as someone who has seen it, it's awesome. If you're a fan, and even if you're not a fan, if you're not a fan, you will learn why this fandom so beloves this character that you said earlier. I didn't realize, holy cow, it's been 60 years, 60 years of this character. I mean, I mean, how many characters can you say that about that has existed in media? You know, I guess Star Trek's been around a long time, but not as much as Doctor Who.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. There you go. Matthew and Vanessa, thank you so much. Where can people find the movie?
At the moment, you have to go to Amazon UK, and you can get a Region 2 DVD and Blu-ray, but so it hasn't yet been released in America. That'll happen next year. But if you're in the UK, you know, it's had its cinema release and it's out digitally. And certainly from here, you can, through Amazon UK, you can get European versions of it if you want to see it. Otherwise, we're doing various festivals and conventions over the next few months.
We'll be at Galley.
We'll be at Galley.
I'll be at Galley.
Sure.
Oh, good. Oh,
I will
good. We
see
get
you
to
there.
see you. Yes.
Are you going to do a panel? You can do a panel and a screening.
Yeah, Friday night there'll be a screening, and Saturday we have a panel.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Cool.
Oh, please, yeah, come along.
Awesome.
Maybe you can interview us.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, Matthew. We'll remind people too about the film screening there, and looking forward to the U.S. release. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. That was great. That was great.
Wow.
The documentary is amazing. And in particular, if you're not a fan of Doctor Who, you can get caught up very quickly by watching the film. It really does such an amazing job of explaining this character, the lore and the fandom behind it. Really fantastic.
And Gallifrey 1 is February 17th through 19th.
February 17th through 19th.
And Jodie Whittaker will be there.
Jodie Whittaker will be there. I think it's her first big convention appearance. Is that right?
I believe so.
Or at least that first time at Galley. First time at Galley. So
Baker will be there.
There you go. I want to think we still have like a lot of people watching here. And I got to say, for people who stick around for our filmmaker interviews, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Alan, what do we have coming up?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. Well, I'm performing tomorrow night at National Comedy Theater, 7:30. We still pumping out reviews on filmthreat.com. So, join us there. We've got, we just reviewed Emancipation with Will Smith.
Oh my God. I want to see the review because I've heard people really do not like.
Yeah, we're not being very kind to.
Oh no, it's a bad review.
Yeah, it's a bad review.
Oh, I want
Alex
to read
wrote
it.
it.
Who wrote
it. You know it's gonna be painful.
That's great. Well, I want to thank all of you for watching. We appreciate you. I appreciate your support on social media. This week was distressing for me, and I appreciate that you lifted my spirits. And I appreciate that that what we're building is an audience who has a sense of humor and is willing to explore just movies that, there's the big movies that come to the theaters. We'll talk about those, but there's a lot of small films deserving of your attention, and we like to feature those and put them in the light. So you always know you have a choice. You go into the movies or you see the movies, there's always another choice, or as Alan likes to say, wait, what do you like to say?
What do I like to say?
Yeah. You like to say, yeah. Or no, this is actually what you really prefer.
Michael.
Wait,
you're welcome, everyone. You're welcome.
We have another new video. Did we show this? Did see that one?
Yeah,
okay.
we did.
These are so amazing. I love it. Glanuccio, I want to thank Glanuccio, our producer behind the scenes, who's killing it with the videos, keeping things lively, and most importantly, everyone else here, your comments. Solomon Thorne, Chris and Alan, live long and prosper. Most importantly, Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
One thing I know is Matthew Jacobs. He wrote Young Indiana Jones.
He wrote Young Indiana Jones. He wrote Emperor's New Groove.
He wrote an episode of the Jim Henson Hour.
He wrote an Emperor's New Groove. In the movie he talks about, it had a different title, and I forgot what the title was.
Yeah, the version of Emperor's New Groove that we know was a complete reboot from a previous version of it.
Right.
They trashed it. Yeah.
It's really it's a great documentary. Just about, I love documentaries that are like an inside about fandom. I love stuff like that.
And people being honest and not being political, which is what I like.
The movie's not like that at all. Doesn't talk about anything like it. William Joseph Dunn says it got slapped with a bad review. Yeah, that happens. That happens here. But I want to thank you. Look, that was the picture that's in our background right now that says Film Threat in the Snow. I took that picture at Sundance like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Yeah. I just wrote Film Threat in the Snow and took a photo. So there you go. Thank you all. We are going to be back next week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. The embargo will be lifted. We can finally talk about Avatar, and then Avatar: The Way of Water. We will talk about it probably on both of our shows next week, on our Friday show at 9 a.m. Pacific time. On the 9 a.m. Pacific time show, we will be talking spoilers, because I know you will have seen it. So if you care about spoilers, you might want to avoid, or we'll get to a spoiler section. We'll do a little spoiler alert for sure, but you will have seen it, and I want to know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are. And I don't know, just appreciate the support. This has been such an amazing year. We're over what are we, over 62,000 subs now?
62.3 when I last checked.
60, is it what? It's what, Alan?
69.
All right. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. It's going to be Avatar: The Way of Water week, but we can actually we can speak more clearly, definitively about the film, and I'm excited to do that. Any other final thoughts, Alan?
Nope. Sexism in film criticism. That's what I want.
Oh no! Don't do that. Sexism in film criticism. You should just.
Don't worry, it'll all blow over this weekend. People will stop talking about it, and the snowflakes can get back.
There are more articles. You told me there's an article in Inside the Magic. I didn't know that. Why is that even news though? Like, it's such a dumb.
I know.
It's so dumb. All right.
4 freaking words. 4 freaking words.
Well, good. I'll work on one that's 3 words. That's even worse. That's even worse. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Alan, what do you got to say?
Let's get out of here.